प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome you all. So today is the last class on prayers by Arjuna. Okay. So we will complete it. It's just 5 verses, right? So we'll complete it today. And yeah, let's begin. सैव जीवा लोकस्य माया मोहितचेतसा विधत्से स्वेन वीर्येण श्रेयो धर्मादिलक्षणम्. And yet, though you are beyond the purview of material nature, you execute the 4 principles of liberation characterized by religion and so on for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. Yes, Puppet, who wants to read? Who wants to read the Puppet?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, out of causeless mercy, descends to the manifested world without being influenced by the material modes of nature. He is eternally beyond the material manifestations. He descends out of his causeless mercy only to reclaim the fallen souls who are captivated by the illusionary energy. They are attacked by the material energy and they want to enjoy her under false pretexts, although in essence the living entity is unable to enjoy. One is eternally the servitor of the Lord, and when he forgets this position, he thinks of enjoying the material world. But factually, he is in illusion. The Lord descends to eradicate this false sense of enjoyment and thus reclaim the conditioned souls back to Godhead. That is the all merciful nature of the Lord for the fallen souls. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, next shloka, we will cover this, and with this, we end with the prayers by Arjuna. तथायं चावतारस्ते भुवो जिहिर्षया स्वानां चनन्यभावानम् अनुध्यानाय चासकृत्. Thus you descend as an incarnation to remove the burden of the world and to benefit your friends, especially those who are your exclusive devotees and are constantly wrapped in meditation upon you. Yes, Puppet? Mataji, you can continue.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. It appears that the Lord is partial to his devotees. Everyone is related with the Lord. He is equal to everyone, and yet he is more inclined to his own men and devotees. The Lord is everyone's father. No one can be his father, and yet no one can be his son. His devotees are his kinsmen, and his devotees are his relations. This is his transcendental pastime. It has nothing to do with mundane ideas of relations, fatherhood, or anything like that. As mentioned above, the Lord is above the modes of material nature, and thus there is nothing mundane about his kinsmen and relations in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, so from these 2 verses, so what is the context? Context is, we all know Arjuna is praying to the Lord for his own protection in the first place because of the Brahmastra. And then that Brahmastra will attack the other 4 Pandavas also, right? So he is very worried and he starts praying to Krishna for protection, right? So the whole aim of this prayer that Arjuna is offering the Lord is actually protection, right? So now the first question is, what protection are we talking about? What should actually be protected? What should be protected? Yes, anyone? You can unmute and answer or put your answer in the chat also.
Our soul.
Soul. Very nice. But soul cannot be attacked, no? No weapon can hurt the soul. No water can moist the soul. No fire can, burn the soul. Then why should we protect the soul?
So that we don't fall into, material desires and Maya Mataji.
Very bold, very nice. So the real protection means making sure the soul has taken the path of spiritual, devotional service, and the soul is on the path of going back home, back to Godhead. That is called protection, right? There is a word called Atmaha. Anyone knows what is the meaning of Atmaha? What is Atmaha? Anyone has heard of this?
Killer of the soul.
Killer of the soul, very nice, right? Killer of the soul is called Atmaha. So again, coming back to the philosophy, nobody can kill the soul, right? A soul is not born, so definitely soul cannot die. It is just the body that is being born, but also you can kill the soul. How? By pushing the soul more and more into the material pool, right? By not offering devotional service to the Lord, by getting more and more captured into Maya, right? That is when you actually kill the soul. Killing the soul means killing the purpose of the soul. Purpose is Jeevera Swarupa hai Krishnera Nitya Das. Nitya Das is our purpose, right? Our purpose is being eternal servant to the Lord. But when we are forgetting that and doing everything else, trying to become the king or trying to become the Lord ourselves and trying to, enjoy the material world, the purport Prabhupada writes, more and more we try to enjoy her. Who is her? Maya, right? When we try to enjoy her, then we are actually falling down into the material pool because we are forgetting our constitutional position. And that is what is meant by killing the purpose of the soul, right? Killing the soul, right? And the Lord is extra merciful. See, what has happened is we all, by our own will, we came to this material world because we wanted to enjoy like the Lord. Right, so this is proved in Sanatan Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamritam. Right, if you get a chance, you can read if there is any online copy. Right, so it's proved there. It's Sanatan Goswami writes, right, why we are suffering here, why have come down here, and all that. So in that, it's written ki we have come down by our own will and choice because we want to enjoy. Right, so, we got contaminated, we got envious of Krishna and we came down here, right? But Krishna is still our father. So you can see how fathers behave, right? How much ever children are problematic, they are so they are so disobedient, they don't listen to the parents. Still, because their heart is always filled with love, right, and mercy for their children all the time. So Krishna is like, just like, the fathers in the material world, Krishna is a supreme father for all of us. For all the fathers also, Krishna is a father, right? So he is filled with even more higher level of mercy, right? So he comes to the conditioned world, to this material world, just to reclaim the fallen souls, all of us, back home, back to Godhead. Because he cannot live with us, without us, right? He cannot live without us. He's waiting for us. He's missing us in Goloka. Why? Because we need to understand one thing. All of us, right, we have gotten our own Swarupa in the Goloka, right? All of us have our own Swarupa. What are we? We are, on a general sense, on a big picture, we are all servitors of the Lord. But who are we? Every servitor has a name, every servitor has a role to play, every servitor has a, unique relationship with Krishna, right? Like there are 108 principal sakhis, but they are all not generalized. Each sakhi is different. Each sakhi has a unique bond with Krishna. No sakhi can replace another sakhi. Same goes with the manjaris, right? Same goes with the surabhi cows. Each cow has a unique bond and role to play in Krishna's pleasure, right? Or to give Krishna pleasure. Even if one cow is not, it's missing, then Krishna will not be completely happy because no cow can replace another cow. So same way, we are all servitors. We could be anything in Goloka. We don't know that. We are in the process of discovering our own selves, right? That is called self-realization. So nobody there in Goloka is able to fill our place, right? So we have a unique bond with Krishna. That is why Krishna is missing us, right? So Krishna wants us to go back home, back to Godhead. That's why he personally comes to reclaim us back home, back to Godhead, right? So when he comes down, why he performs so many pastimes? Any idea? Anyone? Why he performs so many pastimes he's performed? No, why? He can just come ask us to go back home and go back. No, why he performs pastimes?
Mataji, it's for us to relish, Mataji. When we read more about God, we are actually getting interest, and we are also having some, like, we want to read more and more. Some interest we get. So when we are reading more, we are into the devotional part, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Haribol, very nice. Why? Because Krishna says Shravanam, Madguna Shravana Matrena. Right? Krishna says just by listening, Shravana Matrena, just by listening to what? Madguna, to Krishna's qualities, we can go back home, back to Godhead. Shrotavyam Kirtitavyascha. Right? Just by hearing the glories of the Lord and Kirtanam, right? Kirtitavyascha, glorifying the Lord through our mouth, and Smartavyam, right, by remembering the Lord's pastime. So we always have to always hear about Krishna, talk about Krishna, remember Krishna. What to remember? If he's performed any pastimes, what to remember? Right? Nothing there, no? Okay, Krishna came. Krishna is like this. Krishna is his name. That's it. That's it. It's going to be very plain, right? We cannot recall any of his qualities. We cannot understand who is he as a person, right? Unless he performs pastimes. Only when he performs pastimes we will understand. Oh, he's so great. He's fun loving. He makes everybody in Vrindavan laugh with him, right? He's Bhakta Vatsala. He accepts defeat for his devotees, to make his devotees win, right? He doesn't care about his position. He becomes charioteer for Arjuna. So all this we understand only through his pastimes. Otherwise we cannot understand, right? And unless we understand his qualities, we cannot accept him to be the greatest, in fact, right? And only when we can accept his greatness, we can accept him to be the supreme personality of Godhead, and then we will understand who he's so supreme, we are nothing in front of him, and then only we can surrender and we can go back home, back to Godhead. All right, so otherwise it's impossible. So the root of devotion service is to hear about him, right? It's only and only to hear. Then we'll get abhayam, right? Or we'll get free from this material bondage completely. Right? That's very important. So there is one small story here, right? So what happens, there is one deer, okay? So this deer is boy deer, okay? So so this deer is in a beautiful forest, right? Forest filled with so many nice flowers, color flowers, and everything, okay? And it has lush green grass, okay? So deer is going and eating there, but this deer is not alone. So I told you it's a male deer, right? So this male deer has a family also, right? Wife, children, everybody is there, okay? So with all together as a family, they're having a nice time, relishing the green grass and the of the world forest, and they're eating and having a nice time together. Okay, now when they are eating the grass, there are bumblebees also. Okay, so the bumblebees are there, and they are singing. Okay, the bumblebees are singing, and they are hearing the song, and they are eating the grass. Okay, so they are so attracted by the bumblebees, and they are getting carried away in the music and everything. They are just going to another world. Okay, so they do not know what is happening around them. So what is happening? Behind a tree, there at a distance, there is a lion, right? There's a lion waiting to attack the deers, okay? And not only that, right behind the deers, there is a hunter waiting to kill the deers. Can you imagine? So now this is actually an allegorical story which Narada Muni describes to Prachina Barhishit. So what happens in the fourth canto, after describing Puranjana's story, he also talks about an other allegorical story. Okay, this is the one. It's just a small instance. Okay, so what is happening? The deer is getting carried away with the family, with the lush green grass, by the bumblebees and everything, the beauty of the forest and everything. But little did it know that there is a tiger, a lion or tiger, and hunter attacking it. Right? So actually the deer is in danger. Now this is an allegory, right? So what does this mean to us in our in our life, in our own life? So who is this deer? Any idea? Who is this deer?
Our soul, Mataji.
Not our soul, but our material body, including our material body. Soul plus the material body is called conditioned living entity, right? So that living entity is the deer. Okay. And what is the flower garden? Yes.
Material world.
Sorry, material world. More specific, it's our home or our comfort zone, right? For a deer, the home or the comfort zone is the grassy area, right? The forest and everything. So yes. And who are the bumblebees for us in our material world? Yes, any guesses?
Mind, senses.
Maya, Mataji Maya.
No, actually, in Bhagavatam, Narada Muni says they are the children. So we often get carried away by the children. No, the small activities the children do. Right, even after growing up, parents feel children are small only. Right, so whatever they do, they are so happy and they get carried away. Right, so bumblebee is actually our children. Right, so it is actually material attachment. And who is the hunter? Yes.
Death or time? Death or time, Mataji?
Maya.
Very near, death or time, very, very near to that. Yes, Suchana Mataji, any other answer? Okay, so basically, how do we, so basically the hunter means our sinful reactions, right? Due to our past karma, whatever reactions that we have got, right, in the form of problems. Purva janma kritam papam vyadi rupena jayate. We get them in the form of diseases, we get them in the form of so many problems in the life, in our life, right? All the past karma comes back. So the hunter is actually our problems. Because the hunter might, kill the wife, and the husband dear has to bear that pain. That is again, past karma coming back, because it's intolerable, right? That pain. Or they might take off the some part of the body, maybe for making something, right? Maybe the horn or something, they just take it off, right? Ruthlessly. All these are problems, as in suffering. Suffering comes from past karma. And then the tiger or lion or whoever it is. So who is that? We already got the answer, death, right? Mataji said. So that death or kala is actually the tiger. One jump and done. All three deers will go. Right? So that is actually death or kala. So the deer is thinking, so nice life is. I have my own family. I have lush green grass. There is such beautiful bumblebees singing all the time. And there is beautiful flower garden. I can just, be here all my lifetime. But it's not permanent, and but the every padam yet vipadam, right? Every step there is a danger, there is a hunter, there is a tiger, so many more difficulties are there which the deer is totally unaware of, right? Why is the deer unaware of all this? Because of ignorance, getting carried away by Maya's allurement, right? Or thinking illusion is only the truth. That's exactly what we are doing in our life, right? We are all thinking the same thing. I have a very good job. Every month I'll get salary. I live my life however I want. Aram se I live, right? But anytime we don't know what is the danger. Maybe before even receiving that month's salary, kala might come. Or maybe while going to office, something might happen. Accident might happen. Past karma might come back in some or the other way. We do not know what is happening in us, with us. Or even more dangerous thing can happen, that is forgetting Krishna. Maybe we are getting more and more promotion in our office, maybe more and more increment, and we get carried away. Many devotees I have seen, they, in the name of Yukta Vairagya, they keep getting, see, branded t-shirt, branded that, branded this, branded, I mean, more than two cars, and every 6 months they keep changing their phone, and they say, this is all used for, right? So but how much of that consciousness is really there in us? And some of us forget Krishna, right? When you get all the comforts in life, that means you're actually going away and away from Krishna. That is the most dangerous thing which can happen to us, most dangerous problem, right? That is going away from Krishna, or going away, forgetting Krishna. Forgetting Krishna means remembering Maya, right? Forgetting Maya means remembering Krishna. Both cannot happen. Right? Both cannot happen. So it is either one. We either serve Krishna or we either serve Maya. Right? So that is why our consciousness needs to be protected. Very, very important. It is said that this material world is actually considered Krishna's beach house. Okay, it's beach house. So big people, VIPs and big industrialists and these very rich people, they have beach house, farmhouse and all, no? So what do? How are those properties used? Anyone? Yes?
For recreation, Mataji.
For recreation. That means once in a while they visit those properties. They, with their family, with their friends and all, they spend some nice time there and they go back to their houses again, back, right? Um, so that means what? Maybe once in a year they visit those properties, or maybe once in a month. Rest of the time it will be locked, right? Now, just because the owner is visiting that property only for some time, rest of the time it is closed, we cannot go and stay there or use that property, right? We cannot say anyway it is closed, no, let me also enjoy. Nobody is using it, so it's not an loss for owner. When the owner comes, I will go, right? And then when he goes back, I will again go and enjoy. We can't do that. If we do that, what is it called as? Illegally we are encroaching, right? Or using the property or robbing, right? That is what we are labeled as, thieves, right? So what are we? Exactly that. Because this world is considered Krishna's beach house. He comes here with his people, right? With his close set of associates to perform his leelas. Performing leelas or pastimes is called his recreation, right? And just because he goes back to Goloka or to some other universe to perform leelas, we cannot say this belongs to me, I will enjoy. When he comes, I will, let him enjoy. When he goes, I will enjoy this material world. But we are doing that, right? So we are all actually robbers or thieves. We are enjoying the material world, or at least desiring to enjoy the material world, right? My house, we say. My house, that in itself is called enjoying or lording over the material world, right? Because it's not mine, it's not yours, it's his, it's Krishna's, right? So consciously or unconsciously, all of us are having this desire of lording over, or knowingly, unknowingly, we are already doing it, right? And that is the main purpose why we came back from Goloka, right? Why we came down, we fell down from Goloka to this material world, right? So that's why Krishna comes to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead, to give us the real, that is called real protection, right? Making us, aware of what we are doing and what we are not supposed to do, what we are supposed to do, who are we in the first place, right? So all this, he's coming to give us the knowledge. He directly comes, or he sends his bona fide representative, right? Like how he sent Srila Prabhupada, right? And through them, he ensures we all understand who we are, what we are doing, and then once and for all, going back home, back to Godhead. That is what we want. That is what he wants, right? So now, qualification to be protected by Krishna is we need to be a friend of Krishna. Not, see, what we are talking about here is spiritual protection. The very meaning of protection means spiritual protection, because all know this material body is temporary. There's no point thinking about it. There is no point talking about it even. We are just, as long as we have got this material body, we need to make sure that we are using it for devotional service. But otherwise, we are not supposed to worry about it. Many people worry, oh, I got disease, I got that, I got this. As long as you are there in that particular material body, ask yourself, how much of it are you using for Krishna's service? And when something happens to it, we sit and worry, I could have done that, I could have done this, but now my body is not supporting. When it was supporting, what were we doing? Nothing. right? So there's no point in questioning or claiming for material protection. Actual protection means spiritual protection, and spiritual protection we already discussed, making sure the soul is going toward the bhakti path. Bhakti is one and everything, right? That is the called spiritual protection. And qualification to get protected by Krishna, this kind of spiritual protection, if you want, you should be having some qualification, and that is to be a friend of Krishna. Friend means devotee of Krishna, right? You can be devotee of Krishna in any way, right? Some people consider Krishna to be their child. Some people consider Krishna to be their brother, friend, a conjugal relation, whatever it is. But you have to have some relationship with Krishna, right? That is very, very important. Friend of Krishna. Friend means devotee of Krishna, right? So there were so many Pandavas in the battlefield, no? I mean, 5 Pandavas, and they were all, and there were many good devotees also on the battlefield. But Krishna chose only Arjuna to teach Bhagavad Gita. Why? Other Pandavas, other 4 Pandavas are also devotees only, right? They were also following Dharma. Why he did not choose them? Anyone? Yes? Any guesses?
He
Why?
was a
Mataji,
friend of Arjuna.
Sorry? Archana Mataji, you want to say anything?
yes, Mataji. Mataji, in one of the verse in 4th chapter, Bhagavan says, we have been together in other yugas also. So
Yeah.
you're my friend in every yuga. Like that he mentions, Mataji. I think it is because of that. Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Very nice. So he's been a friend eternally. And what is eternal position of Arjuna? Anyone knows? What is the eternal position of Arjuna? Who is Arjuna? No one knows? We've discussed this multiple times. Who is Arjuna? What is his eternal position? He's someone from Goloka, no? Who is he from Goloka?
He is a Manjari in Goloka.
He is Vishaka Sakhi. Lalita, Vishaka are the 2 principal Sakhis of Radharani. Right? We have 2 principal Sakhis and then Ashta Sakhis in Mayapur. In Vrindavan, if you go, the 2 main Sakhis are there, Radha Krishna and then Lalita and Vishaka. If you go to Mayapur, other 6 Sakhis join. 8 Sakhis, Ashta Sakhis are there. Krishna, Radha Krishna, and then Lalita Sakhi, Vishaka Sakhi, and the other Sakhis to make the 8 Sakhis. And we already discussed there are 108 principal Sakhis. The 2 main Sakhis are Lalita Vishaka Sakhi, then the Ashta Sakhis, then 108 Sakhis, and then there are 16 lakh some Sakhis. Okay, the principal Sakhis are 108. And that 2 main Sakhis are Lalita and Vishaka, and he is the most confidential Sakhi of Radharani. And right, that is Vishaka Sakhi. And so he is the best friend. That's why Krishna says, every time I come down, you always come down with me, and you are my friend, and you have been my friend till date, to date. You have been my friend. In whatever form Krishna comes down, Vishaka Sakhi also comes down. You can see in Chaitanya Leela, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came down, who came as Vishaka Sakhi? Vishaka Sakhi came as whom? Yeah, we know all this. Please just tax your memory. Ramananda Rai. Okay, so when Krishna came down as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vishaka Sakhi came down as Ramananda Rai in Chaitanya Leela. When Krishna came down in Dwapar Yuga, in Krishna Leela, Vishaka Sakhi came down in the form of Arjuna. Right? So they are that confidential associates. So more the closeness, more is the bhakti. This is one thing we have to understand. So how to become devotee? First step, establish close relation and make sure you go closer and closer in that relationship day by day. Right? So if Krishna is your friend, do not consider him to be one among the many friends you have. He should be the one and only friend, the best friend, and then others should be just one among the many, right? But Krishna should be the best friend, the closest friend you can reach out to. Anything happens, right? So that is very, very important. So this is one lesson we need to learn. If you want spiritual protection all the time, if you want someone to make sure you are on the path of bhakti, going back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime itself, the qualification is make sure the relationship you have with Krishna is getting closer and closer. I mean, it's getting deeper and deeper every single day. Day by day, it is deeper. It could be friendship. It could be mother and child relationship, father and child relationship, whatever, that is your personal. But make sure it is getting deeper and deeper. That's why Arjuna got a chance to listen to Bhagavad Gita. Bhima was there, Yudhishthir was there, Nakula was there, Sahadev was there. Nobody got a chance. Right? Bhishma Dev was there. He is also one of the Mahajanas. He never got a chance to listen. Right? He was also not, able to hear. Time was stopped. Right? But only Arjuna got a chance because of the close relation they have. Right? That's very, very important. Now, the question is Krishna partial then? He will not protect others? Yes? If you want protection, you should make friendship with Krishna. So, otherwise, he will not protect. So, it's
No,
partial.
Mataji. He
So,
will protect.
I have a question here. How many of you think he is partial? How many of you think he is not partial?
Mataji,
Yes,
I think he's not partial.
He's
He
Keshav
is
Prabhu?
not partial.
He partial,
Okay,
Mataji.
he's partial. Okay.
Mataji,
Others?
from reading Bhagavatam, I have a different thing because Kunti Devi in her prayer she says he is neither partial nor impartial.
Okay, yeah, that is also there. Others? Others, nothing.
Not partial, Mataji.
He's not partial, Mataji.
Not partial. Okay, now Samoham Sarvabhuteshu means Samoham, he is not partial. For him, to his vision, everybody is equal. Samoham Sarvabhuteshu, all living entities. Name Dveshyosti na priya. Right? He says, I'm not, having any grudge on anyone, nor do I have love on anyone. Right? That's what Krishna says. Name Dveshyosti na priya. Ye bhajanti tu maam bhaktya. But, there is a counterpart. Right? But whoever renders service unto Krishna, in devotion as a friend is a friend. He says, no, ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. And as a friend, right, I mean, whoever renders devotional service to him, he becomes a friend to Krishna and he always supports them. That's what he's saying here. No, he's in me and I am also a friend to him. That's what he's saying. That means what? Krishna is saying he's not partial, and at the same time he's saying I'm a friend to a particular person. So how to understand this? So he's partial or not partial?
He's not partial, Mataji.
He's not partial. Then why he says he is a friend to me and I'm also a friend to him? Friends support each other, help each other, right?
Mataji, because a devotee is a surrendered soul. So Krishna will give the protection to that surrendered soul.
Others?
Others he gives the protection, Mataji, because see, it is mentioned, right, that Prabhupada says in his purports, the Lord provides everything for everyone. Even cats and dogs, don't go without food. So he protects in general. But for a devotee, there is spiritual protection as an additional benefit.
Yeah. So from this, what we understand. Yeah, others who want to add? Muralidhar
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, I can tell this with an example, Mataji. Now, a class teacher will be commonly handling the class in an equal way. She's teaching to everybody in the same way, and she's giving every content to everyone in the same way. But there are few students who will come closer to her and ask more and more question about any topic, or to clarify anything. To them the teacher is more like more detailed, or she's explaining more. So here it is not seen that the teacher is partial. Here it is only because the devotee is more close to God, so he cares more to them. Like they are giving they're offering the food, and they're honoring the prasad, they're always serving God and all that. So devotee is being much cared by God. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, very nice. Yeah, Murlidhar Prabhu.
Mataji, Mataji, there is one sloka which says that as much you surrender to me, that much I will be your friend. That
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम्. Very nice. Yeah. So what we understand, or how to understand this, is that, like all of you said, Krishna is not partial. Okay, so say there is a mother and she has 5 children. Okay, and say one of the children, right, always cries a lot and is always attached to the mother. For everything, the child keeps crying, amma, 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 right? Even for water, the child goes and asks mother only. Everything, so attached to mother, so depending on mother, can't do anything by his own self. But the other 4 of them are not like that. They are independent, they can do their thing properly. Right, so they help each other, and they are sorted. But this one particular child, all the time behind the mother, right? So now mother will give more attention to this child, no, because she knows others are able to take care of themselves, right? And gives them, instructions on a general note, but takes care personally for this particular child. Doesn't mean the mother is partial. Child is a child for every mother. How many ever children she has, all children she loves equally, right? There's no partiality, but depends on how much you are, dependent on the mother, or the, like Mataji said, how much are you dependent on the teacher, right? So if you are all the time behind that teacher, asking more questions, or trying to get more knowledge, and or like that, or wanting to learn more, then obviously the teacher has to focus on you, as at least to respond to you, right? At least to respond to you. That doesn't mean the teacher is partial to the rest of the class, right? Same way Krishna is not partial, and he takes care personally for a friend. If you are a friend, if you become a friend to Krishna, ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, if you offer devotional service to the Lord, you become a friend. And to a friend, he will take care as a friend. That means personally. To others, he will take care through whom? Through whom? For others, through whom he'll take care? Through Maya, through the material, through the law of karma, right? So that's why Krishna is not partial, he is completely fair. But how, right? How is he not partial? Is for devotees, we already discussed. He will take care personally, because if you are a friend, your friend will come running if you are having any problem, right? So for devotees, he will come personally, come and take care. For non-devotees, he will take care through the law of karma, right? So through the law of karma, the law of karma will take care of the non-devotees. Okay, and again, that is not called being partial, because he never goes against the desire of the living entities. Non-devotees desire for that. They want material world to be lording over the material world, and definitely the karma will take care of them. If you do something, you will have equal and opposite reaction, and you have to suffer it. And if you are a devotee, you will do everything only for Krishna, and there is no law of karma. So he will personally come and take care of you. Right? So how he will take care through law of karma is, one second. So how he will take care through law of karma? Anyone knows? How does it work? Law of karma works? Any idea how law of karma works?
Mataji, I am answering again. Is it okay?
It's okay, Mataji.
Mataji, actually, we will be getting all the effects of karma, but since we are the devotee of the Lord and we are trying to surrender, He will reduce the effect of the karma and He will minimize the effects, bad effects of karma. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, but how? How is all this happening?
Good. You do good, you get good, Mataji. You do bad.
How is it happening? How will you get good if you do good? What's the mechanism happening?
He'll help you to spiritually advance by giving you the intelligence.
Okay, he'll give you intelligence. How? Yes, Kodan.
Past time karma.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Past
Past
karma.
time karmas.
Yeah, past time karma. How is it
Acted.
getting transferred to your next life?
Spiritual master. Spiritual master.
Through?
Spiritual master.
No, spiritual master takes away the karma. He has nothing to do with karma. He either takes away the karma or that's it. That's his job. He will actually nullify the karma. So basically, how this is happening is, how many bodies does a soul have in the conditioned state? How many bodies? We are all in conditioned state, no? We all have some bodies, no? Yeah, Kodanaram Prabhu.
Atma Paramatma.
Paramatma is there, Atma is there, okay, but the Atma has bodies. We can see body, no? This is my body. So how many, like this, how many bodies he has?
See, Mataji.
2. Yeah, Shashi Prabhu has the answer. 2 bodies. Okay, so 2 bodies. The soul is there in the heart, actually inside the heart, right? And next to the soul is Paramatma, but both these, right? Both the soul and Paramatma are covered by 2 layers. One first layer is called the subtle body. Subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, and ego, false ego, right? And then after subtle body is the next covering called the gross body. Gross body is this: the skin, skeleton, flesh, bones, bone marrow, all this is gross body. What you can see, what the doctors can see, right? Just if you cut the skin, what you can see, that is all gross body. But subtle body, nobody can see, right? It's the covering inside the gross body, right? It's made of mind, intelligence, and ego, which you cannot see. That's why it is called subtle. Okay, and now when transmigration happens, or in other words, when death happens, what happens? The soul from inside subtle body, right, has to penetrate the 2 cover. And when the soul comes out, just behind the soul, Paramatma, super soul, will also come out, right? That means he has to tear through the 2 coverings and come out, right? And actually, the soul is not sticking to the subtle body also. There is a thin layer between the subtle body and the soul, which is called ether. Ether is like a glue holding the subtle, the body, the material body, and the soul together. So it has to penetrate through the 2 bodies, the 2 layers, and come out to to leave the body. And then when the soul comes out, Paramatma also comes out right behind the soul, the super soul, right? So that's why it is said, the Paramatma never leaves until you go to Goloka. Paramatma will never leave you in whatever condition we are in. Even if we become ghost, Paramatma will still come and sit next to us. In the heart of the ghost body, there is 2 again, soul and Paramatma, super soul. Right? So when they come out, the 2 bodies, they penetrate and they come out, right? And then based on Smaran Bhavam Tyajati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Based on what we are thinking at the time of death and the karmas that we have accumulated, karma reactions throughout that particular janma, right? Based on that, we get the next body. Immediately when the soul comes out, the next body is prepared. That means the womb of a mother is prepared, and the father is also prepared, right? And then we are injected into the semen of a father. Again, when we are injected, again the soul and super soul both are going and injecting into the semen of a father, right? And that gets transferred into a mother's womb, and the body gets generated. That is, again, first the subtle body develops, and then the gross body develops, right, inside the womb. So based on our thinking when we are at the time of death and our karma reactions accumulated throughout janmas and janmas, we get that next body which is happening. Now what happens, the when the soul comes out, like during the death process, like I told you, the two bodies come out, right? I mean, the soul and Paramatma come out, right? At that time, the subtle body comes out of the gross body and covers the soul, right? It's the same subtle body that comes out and covers the soul and then gets injected into the semen, and then it gets injected, I mean, goes into the womb and takes the gross body. The gross body takes shape. But it is the same subtle body that the soul has throughout from the time we came from Goloka till the time we go back to Goloka. It is that one same subtle body that acts. Only the gross body changes, right? So subtle body means mind, intelligence and false ego, where the desires are stored. What we are thinking at the time of death, who knows what we are thinking? The subtle body knows, the mind knows. It's called subconscious mind, right? It is stored in the subconscious mind. In conscious, so what happens? The karma, the reactions, the desires, what we like, what we dislike, everything is being stored in the subtle body, and it is the same subtle body that we have from the time of we came from Goloka till we go back to Goloka. How many ever janmas you take, how many ever gross bodies you take, we might take birth as a dog, we might take birth as a tree, we might take birth as a human. It's the same subtle body that acts. It's the same subtle body. So it's a reservoir of all the past karma reactions, karmas that you have done, the desires you have, your likes, your dislikes, everything is being stored in that. Your weaknesses, your fears, what are you afraid of, what is your strength, right? Everything is being stored in the subtle body because it's one common subtle body, right? Now because it is the same subtle body, what happens, the Paramatma sitting in the heart will direct the subtle body. It keeps reminding you did this particular thing in your past janma, some janma you did, so you have to do this because that is the reaction you have to suffer. And the mind agrees, or the intelligence agrees, gross body acts accordingly. Can you imagine? So this is how Paramatma gives the guidance to the to us, to a conditioned soul. And say you have done some murder in some janma, okay, and this janma, say that karma has got fructified, the reaction, and you have to suffer that karma in this janma. So that will be reminded to the soul, and the subtle body will take care of it. So what happens in the form of reaction, we have to suffer, right? It could be killing ourselves. Many people suicide as a we are suiciding maybe because it is a reaction to that particular karma that we did, murdering a particular person, right? So the Paramatma will guide. Paramatma says the karma is this, the reaction is this, you have to do this, so to fulfill this particular karma. And after that we will be freed from that karma. Next karma we have to face, right? And all this happens. And even if we become ghost, body is still there. Only the gross body goes. And the difference between a normal transmigration and ghost is when we become ghost, the subtle body is there, Paramatma and Atma is there, but we don't get entry into a womb of another mother. We don't get entry. We have to suffer in a ghost body, and we because the subtle body is active, we can see everything. We can see our people, we can see what they're doing, and you have desires. No, all desires are stored in subtle body, so we want to act, but there is no gross body. You want, say somebody is eating something next to you and you are in a ghost body, you also want to eat, but you can't because you don't have a gross body to eat, right? So you don't have teeth, you don't have mouth, right? So you suffer. So ghost body means complete suffering because you want to do everything but you are not able to do anything because of the because you don't have a gross body. And then that you suffer in that form for a particular period of time, because that is the punishment for becoming a ghost, right? Oh, if you overly attached to something, if you are overly attached at the time of death, and if that desire has not fulfilled at all, and you're desperate for that, then we become ghosts, right? Because we want it at any cost in that particular body itself, but it never happened. That means you are going against the law of karma, because the law of karma is saying, no, I'm not going to give it to you now, but you want it at any cost, and that at that time only, right? So that is the punishment for acting like that, and we become ghosts, and Paramatma guides us. After that particular time span, Paramatma will send us to a mother's womb, right? So this way, because based on our desire only everything is happening, so we cannot blame the Lord. So that's why he's completely impartial, right? So he is impartial. He is impartial. And if you are a devotee and you want to surrender to him, he will definitely be more than happy to help, right? A teacher will not help you unless you ask you ask a question, right? Unless she sees or he sees that fire in you, that okay, you want more help, you want more, you want to learn more, why will she help, why will he help, right? He will not. So that is very very important. That is one thing I wanted to share. So definitely he is impartial. And what else?
The Mataji, one issue.
Sorry,
Is this subtle body, whatever information is there, that is stored in the soul itself?
no, subtle body is a layer just after the soul. It is made of mind, intelligence, and ego, and all this desire and our past activities are stored in the mind.
And what is the role of the soul, Mataji?
Soul. So soul is eternal servitor of Krishna. So we are all souls. So we are all eternal servitors of Krishna.
So
But
whatever,
because we don't want to serve, we have come here. And subtle body and gross body will act according to our own karma and desires and give us either suffering or material enjoyment. Okay?
Okay.
now what they say is that all the spiritual knowledge is stored in the soul, whereas the material knowledge will be left in this material world. Is it is like that?
Spiritual knowledge is our own identity, no? That is there in the soul. Yes. What are we in Goloka? Everything related to the Goloka and spiritual world, to the Lord, everything is there in the soul. And material, when we come back and take a material body, whatever happens, that is stored in the subtle body. Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so now one story. I will just end the class with a story.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
When the ghost is liberated,
Go is liberated.
liberation. When it will get liberation?
See, when a Vaishnava.
Sometimes one soul is become ghost.
Hmm.
There should be liberation. Again, it has to come to a body.
So after
Any,
a particular time span, Krishna will give that ghost a body. After
body,
a
yeah.
particular time span, but that for that particular time span, the ghost will not get any body. It has to suffer in the form of a ghost. And
That,
even if the ghost is lucky enough, then he will get get a Vaishnava association and directly go back home, back to Godhead, instead of taking a material body. Like we had a story, Gokarna and Dundukari, right? So I think there are two brothers, and one of them was completely into spiritual knowledge, okay, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and everything. But the other brother was very disobedient, and he finally suicided one day, and he became a ghost in the same tree where his other brother was giving Bhagavatam class, right? Under that tree only he and giving Bhagavatam class, and this other brother who suicided became a ghost, and he was standing in that tree. Okay. And then what happened, every day he used to listen in a ghost form. Also you can hear because of the subtle senses, no? So subtle body is there with you. So he was hearing and hearing and hearing Bhagavatam, and hearing and hearing, he got purified, and he went back home, back to Godhead. Can you imagine, right? So if you become a ghost, and if you are if you are lucky, you will get devotee association, and you can go back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, for a particular time span, we have to suffer in the ghost body itself, and only after that time span is over, Krishna will send you to a mother's womb, and you will get a gross body. Okay, not until then.
duration, you can't guess. No?
I don't know. It
How much
depends on
duration?
karma. It depends on what karma we have done. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So I'll just end the class with a story on how to overcome Maya. Okay, so we are all in Maya. We need spiritual protection, right? So what happens? There was a guru, and there were many disciples. And the guru said, "I will give you a task," and all the disciples. What is the task? All the disciples should go around. The deities, as in do pradakshina around deities with earthen diyas, okay? All the earthen diyas should be lit, and they should carry the diya, and they should go around the deities. And that diyas have oil in full, right? And the challenge is when they go around, the one drop of oil also should not fall to the ground. That is the challenge. One drop of oil also should not fall to the ground. And then they were like, okay, so all disciples agreed, and they were like, okay, we will go. And they took the diyas and they went around the deities. They all completed, and they came back, and they showed to the guru, okay, see, even one drop of oil did not fall down. So we are, I am the winner, I am the winner. So the guru said, nobody is a winner, right? Why? Because the real task is, everybody was bothered about the oil. Will it fall down? Will it fall down? Will it fall down? Right? So the guru was like, everybody is bothered about the oil, whether it will fall down or not. So you were all actually remembering the oil and the challenge. But the real task was, in that difficult situation, how can you remember the Lord? Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha, Krishna says, Man Mana, all the time think of me. Krishna says, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. You do the, fight in the war, but think of me and fight. While fighting, think of me. That's what Krishna said, no? How? So difficult, right? So those who actually remember the Lord in every moment of life, whether it is a brain work, or whether it is mechanical work, whether it is a difficult work, whether whatever situation we are in, maybe some kind of health issues we have, right? In every single moment, every single challenge that we have with our material world, if you are able to remember Krishna, then you are going to become a friend to Krishna. Then you will have 24/7 spiritual protection, guaranteed. Right? So that guru told, the real challenge was, anybody can do this, not spilling the oil to the ground and doing pradakshina. But how many of you remembered the Lord while doing this task? That is very important. Nobody remembered. Everybody was focused on oil, not on Krishna. But rather, if you had focused on Krishna, Krishna would have done the task for you. Arjuna was focusing on Krishna throughout the Mahabharata war. Even Pandavas, they were all reliant on Krishna. And Krishna came and personally fought for them, no? Only for namesake, it was Arjuna fighting. It was all Krishna doing it, right? Krishna was saying, shoot the arrow here, shoot the arrow there, first defeat this person, first defeat that person, right? Do this, do that. Everything was going according to the order of Krishna. Krishna was personally present in the battlefield. He is the one who fought, but he gave the credit to his devotees. So if you depend on God, God will come and all your activities. But what we are afraid of every time is, oh, if I think of Krishna, I will lose focus. This will become a failure. Krishna cannot do any bad to anyone. He cannot make anybody fail. How can he make his devotees fail? Krishna says, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotees will never perish. Then how can we perish? Impossible. Krishna is capable of everything, it seems. One devotee says, because he is Krishna, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is capable of everything. But one thing he is incapable. What is that one thing? To bring about inauspiciousness in a devotee's life. He is completely incapable of that. He can't tolerate, he can't control, he will cry, if something inauspicious happens in a devotee's life. And if you think what is happening to you is inauspiciousness, then it is according to your material environment. Oh, this didn't happen, this business became a failure, I lost so much of money, I lost my relatives, I mother, I lost my father. In a material sphere, all that is looking like inauspiciousness, maybe that is what is giving you spiritual protection. You don't know your future, right? Narada Muni, 5 years old, he lost his mother. Did he cry? Did he say, Krishna took away my mother, he did so much bad to me? He accepted it, and he said, this is what is going to take me to Krishna. Then why not? Right? So he tests you. Harishye taddanam shanai. Krishna says, no. Yasyaham anugrahishyami. When I show special mercy to a devotee, harishye taddanam shanai. I take away all his material wealth and material status, right? Or the position that he has in the society. And then tato adhanam tyajantyasya swajana, right? All his relatives will abandon him because he is moneyless. He doesn't have position. He doesn't have any status. They will all abandon him, and then dukkha dukkita. Krishna will give one after the other trouble and trouble and trouble, trouble after trouble, problem after problem, problem after problem, where he has nobody to go and ask help from, only Krishna. So that way, manasa vacha karmana, he will only rely on Krishna, right? And that's what Krishna wants, completely dependent on Krishna, nobody else. Like Prabhupada, right? He had a loss in his pharmacy business, and then he had given up on his family, right? Nobody helped him, nothing, right? Nobody helped him, only Krishna helped, right? Because we have to always depend on Krishna, and then Krishna will continuously give you spiritual strength, and then we can go back home, back to Godhead. Going back home, back to Godhead is the main thing. Everything else is a dream. Prabhupada writes in Purport, material life is a dream. Why are you struggling for a dream? Why are you worrying about a dream? Wake up from the dream and you will see the reality. So reality is Goloka Vrindavan, and that is our aim. Everything else that is happening, just be, blind to it. Give a blind vision to it, and give a blind ear, deaf ear to it. That's it. Okay, that's how we come out of Maya. Hare Krishna, any questions? Anybody wants to add anything?
Haribol Mataji, so beautifully you explained Mataji. It is so
All glory
difficult.
to Prabhupada. His
Yes.
purports are very powerful, right? So
Yes.
when you read, you'll get goosebumps, and that shows, you are appreciating the purports, because purports are spiritual ecstasies of Srila Prabhupada. They are not from this material world, right?
Right, Mataji. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, one thing I wanted to check, Mataji. So you said that Paramatma will guide from inside as to what needs to be done and all of that. So we get, that karma gets into action mode. But how, like someone who has done something wrong and suffering, but suddenly getting the association of devotee or getting blessing of Krishna, that is also like if they've done a Sukrit karma, only then they will get Mataji, or how is that? Like,
So mostly it's not Sukriti karma, it's actually a mercy of Vaishnava Mataji, right? Unless that Vaishnava shows mercy, nobody can, there's a shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, Brahmanda Brahmite ko na bhagyavana jeev, Guru Krishna prasade paye bhakti lata beej. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we get bhakti. Right? It's not always Sukriti. Maybe you have done Sukriti, na? So to become a little fortunate, but even after, many people meet Vaishnavas. Like my friends came to temple, so many times they came, nobody became devotees. I mean, very less, right? So you meeting Vaishnava maybe depends on Sukriti, na? Becoming a devotee totally depends on the Vaishnava's mercy. How if that Vaishnava shows mercy on you, then you will definitely become a devotee. Otherwise, by our own effort, we can't.
okay,
Okay.
Mataji, very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Archana Mataji, you had a question? No question? Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you, Mataji.